You know, when we think about lost worlds, we usually picture some kind of epic catastrophe, right? A planet wiped out, a civilization sunk beneath the waves. But this story, this is different. This isn't about a world that was lost, it's about a world that was hidden, purposefully, deliberately erased from our view.
I mean, just think about it for a second. We spend all this time and energy pointing our telescopes into the deep, dark void of space, searching for secrets. But what if the biggest secret of them all has been hiding in plain sight this whole time? In the one place it's almost impossible for us to look, right in the blinding glare of our own sun.
And get this isn't just some wild what if. Recently, our most sensitive deep space instruments picked up something strange. A signal they're actually calling the return pulse. It's this incredibly faint, rhythmic vibration, almost like a heartbeat, coming from a region that should be totally silent. It's a hint that after millennia of hiding, something very, very big might just be starting to stir.
So, to really wrap our heads around what could be happening, we've got to start with the evidence we have right now. These little whispers from our own solar system that are bringing an ancient, epic mystery roaring back to life.
And it's not just one signal. It's a whole collection of things that are just off. Our deep space probes are feeling these faint, unexplained gravitational tugs. We're seeing tiny, almost impossible shifts in the sun's corona. And then there's that pulse, that slow, repeating beat. And here's the really crucial part. We've checked the data against everything we know is out there. It doesn't match any known planet, asteroid, or comet. Something else is out there.
So what in the world could it be? Well, ancient legends actually have a name for it, Nibiru. And they don't describe it as some random rogue world, but as a kind of hidden twin to our own planet, concealed by the one thing bright enough to completely blind us to its presence.
This quote just nails the pure genius of it, right? How do you hide an entire world? You don't use darkness, you use overwhelming light. The legend says that the Anunnaki, the civilization from Nibiru, steered their planet into the sun's magnetic dead zone. It's the perfect cosmic hiding spot, totally invisible amidst all that solar radiation.
And we're not talking about a lucky parking spot here. This was supposedly a feat of unbelievable technology. The stories describe a cloaking field, a massive electromagnetic shell. It didn't make the planet invisible in the way we think of it. It did something much smarter. It made it look like nothing at all, just random solar static, a messy heat signature that our telescopes are literally designed to filter out and ignore.
It was supposedly this three-step masterpiece of celestial engineering. Step 1, you slip into the sun's magnetic blind spot. Step 2, you find and ride this natural highway of solar particles, the heliomagnetic corridor, to stay in position. And for the grand finale, Step 3, you flip the switch on the cloaking field. And just like that, you vanish in plain sight.
Okay, but that brings up a huge question. Why? Why would anyone go to such insane lengths to hide an entire planet? To answer that, we have to go back, way back. We have to watch their world begin to die.
The death of their world wasn't an attack from the outside. It started from within. Its core, the very engine that gave the planet life, began to pulse erratically. The stable magnetic heartbeat that had sustained them for eons was starting to fail. And that internal failure had catastrophic effects on the surface. Without a stable core, gravity itself began to tremble. Oceans didn't just have tides. They boiled and surged straight up, swallowing entire continents in violent, unpredictable waves.
The atmosphere itself started to tear itself apart. The sky, something that should be a constant, just flickered between this terrifying crimson and a blinding white, as if the world was having a seizure.
And this wasn't a single, quick event. It was a slow, horrifying cascade. It started with the erratic core pulse, which then triggered these global tremors, earthquakes that shook the entire planet in perfect unison. But the real moment of panic, the moment they knew it was truly over, was when their oldest, most stable structure, the Great Observatory, began to tilt. The final nail in the coffin, though, was silent. It was the moment a deep core stabilizer they called the final spark simply went dark. After that, there was no going back.
And so their gods became refugees. The Anunnaki were forced into an exodus, a desperate flight from a home that was literally crumbling under their feet. But their escape was complicated by a deep, deep fracture within their own society.
At the very heart of this crisis were two leaders, two brothers actually, with totally opposite ideas for how to survive. You had Enki, the scientist, who argued for adaptation, for preserving knowledge, for saving whatever they could.
And then you had Enlil, the commander. He believed in absolute control, rigid discipline, and abandoning anything or anyone he deemed a lost cause. This wasn't just a political disagreement, it was a philosophical war that split their entire civilization right down the middle.
So, with their home becoming nothing more than a memory, and their people completely fractured, they had to answer the most terrifying question you can imagine. Where do you go when you can't go home?
According to their star charts, there was really only one viable sanctuary, a young, stable world called Earth. It had a strong magnetic field to protect them, a nice, gentle rotation perfect for rebuilding, and most importantly, it was rich in gold, which, for their technology, was the one element they desperately needed. It wasn't just a good option, it was their only hope.
And this is the point where their cosmic story gets tangled up with our own history. The legends say their arrival wasn't exactly quiet. They left behind an incredible legacy, a technological and cultural fingerprint that's been hiding in plain sight on our own planet for thousands of years. So what did they leave behind? Not just myths, but functional technology. I mean, imagine data cores disguised as giant stone circles, signal amplifiers buried deep beneath the foundations of ancient temples. They essentially left a trail of breadcrumbs, artifacts that weren't just monuments to the past, but were actual tools for the future.
The key to all of this is a concept called pass-through technology. The idea here is that these ancient artifacts aren't just stone and gold, they're dormant machines. They're designed to do absolutely nothing until they're activated by a very specific signal, a specific vibrational frequency, a frequency that might just be broadcast by a home world that's on its way back.
But here's the thing, they didn't just bring their technology to Earth, they brought their conflict. That philosophical war between Enki and Enlil came with them, and that division, that eternal struggle between science and control, compassion and order, that became the seed for some of our oldest and most universal myths, stories of warring gods, of two brothers battling for the soul of humanity.
Which leaves us with one final, huge question. The next time you hear an ancient myth, just ask yourself, are you just listening to a story, or are you tapping into a deeply embedded memory? A memory of our own cosmic history, and of a hidden world still waiting to return.